17. Now, to add further explanation about Shema and prayer, we must first add explanation about the Kavanah, intentions, in the 18 blessings of the Shmoneh Esreh. Our sages said, why is it that Israel cry out and are not answered? Because when they call, they do not direct their intention in the name. For it is known that the 4 letters of the name Havayah, YHVH, represent contraction, tzimtzum, and expansion, hitpashtat, which are the yod-hair of Havayah. Afterward the Vav is the movement of the flow from above to below, and the final hair is what is actually received by the recipient. Thus, the essential matter of the name Havayah is the movement of the light of effluence that is drawn from above to below. Therefore the name is termed a vessel for the light, as the Zohar and its hayyim explain. In general, among the 4 names, AB, 72, and SAG, 63, the name AB, spelled with yods, milui yudin, is the vessel for the light of Hokhmah, and the name SAG is the vessel for the light of Binah, and so on. However, there are 2 levels here. 1. After the revelation of the light effluence, as above, and 2. As the light of the name Havayah is within the essence of the emanator, Atzmat Hama'atzil. This is called the essential name, Shem Ha'etzem, not the name of action, Shem Ha'Pilah. Examples are, and my name Havayah I did not make known, or I am Havayah, which is faithful everywhere, and likewise Havayah your God, and similar. These are not matters of HaShaar, drawing down, at all, but his essential name. Similarly, and Havayah said to Moses, saying, even though this name Havayah is saying and imparting words of Torah, for the Torah comes forth from Hokhmah, nevertheless this Havayah is the essential name. That is, the 10 Sefirot as included in the essence of the Imrey, Yod as Hokhmah as it is in essence, the first hair as Binah as it is in essence, of his understanding there is no number, and so forth, the Vav as the Middot, attributes, as it is written, yours, Havayah, is the greatness, the might, etc. For this reason, sometimes the name is on the side of light and not on the side of vessel, meaning as an inner aspect within the essence. And this is the main focus of Kavanah in the name as it is in essence, called Kadosh, holy, and Mavdal, transcendent, as in there is none holy like Havayah. This is what is meant in many places, I am Havayah your God, and you shall love Havayah your God, that is, to the inwardness of Havayah, as in your face, Havayah, I seek, and from above to below, may Havayah make his face shine upon you, as at the giving of the Torah, as is known. In this manner, understand the Kavanah in the Shmoneh Esreh, when we say, blessed are you, Barukh Atah, they said, bow at Barukh and straighten at the name. There are 2 levels in this. 1. The drawing down and lowering effected via the 4 letters of the name Havayah, contraction and expansion. This is called the vessel, whereby the effluence is brought in clothing down to the lowest recipients. For example, in Blessed are you, who graciously grants knowledge, one seeks that dit and Hokhmah be extended to him as a gift and a gracious grant. Grant us from you Hokhmah, Binah, dit. This comes by a chain of descent, step after step, from the light of the supernal Hokhmah and det of Atzilut through many intermediaries and different vessels, just as Havayah gave wisdom to Solomon. That giving descended from the very high to the low, from the supernal Hokhmah of Atzilut, into Solomon's soul while in a physical body. This is impossible except via the vessel of Hokhmah of Atzilut, i.e., the name Havayah in its 4 letters, Yod as contraction, etc. Through this vessel it then further descends, from Atzilut to Beriah, until this world. 2. The second level is the light of this Havayah in Hokhmah, namely, Hokhmah and dit as they are in the very essence of the Infinite One, blessed be he, Ein-Sof, beyond grasp even of the holy worlds of Adam Kadmon. This is the very Hokhmah of Ein-Sof. The Kavanah must be to the light of Hokhmah within the essence of Ein-Sof, that it should shine in the vessel, i.e., in this Havayah you utter in blessed are you, who graciously grants knowledge. And this Havayah is specifically with the patah vowel, as is known. Patah corresponds to Hokhmah, and kamatz to Keter. The reason, Hokhmah is found from ayin, nothingness, to a revealed yes. This is the Havayah of Hokhmah. Every revelation of yes from true ayin, the infinite, comes via letters, which are modes of revelation. And because Hokhmah comes to revealed expression outwardly, in spoken word, therefore this Havayah bears the vowel patah, which indicates opening and outward revelation, as when one must open the lips to pronounce a patah. Thus, she opens her mouth with Hokhmah, and Rabbi so-and-so opened, i.e., opening the conduit of Hokhmah from concealment to revelation. For this reason Hokhmah is called beginning, for it is the beginning of the revelation of light. By contrast, the vowel kamatz is the vessel for Keter, i.e., the name hayyei, I am prepared to be revealed, because Keter is concealment and closure, not coming into revelation at all. It is the hidden light of ratzon, will, and tanug, delight, which cannot come into revealed light of Hokhmah and rational taste. Therefore the kamatz signifies closing, the lips remain compressed. So, too, understand the name Havayah in the blessing return us. Hashavinu, here the vowel is specifically tzere, which corresponds to Binah, for here there must be contraction, drawing forth, and expansion from above to below to arouse all souls to teshuvah, as in return us, and bring us back in teshuvah. This is what is called tesha, he will return and have compassion, returning us in teshuvah. It thus comes and is drawn via the name Havayah with the vowel tzere, which is Binah, the name sag. And here, too, there are two levels, of light and vessel, as above. The light is the inwardness of Havayah of Binah as it is in essence, that he wants teshuvah, blessed are you, who desires teshuvah, which is the revelation of Keter within Binah specifically. And the vessel is the four letters of Havayah that are drawn into the receptive vessels to bring people to actual teshuvah, through the voice that proclaims each day, return, O wayward children, and the like. And this suffices. Likewise, the name Havayah with the segol vowel in forgive us, which comes after teshuvah, he is gracious and abundant to forgive. It is known that forgiveness of sins comes from the source of mercy, the 13 attributes of compassion, who forgives all your iniquities. This is enclosed specifically in this Havayah with this vowel. After that, blessed are you, healer of the sick, Havayah with the holam vowel, which is Tiferet, and comes specifically after forgiveness of sins, as it is written, who forgives, who heals all, one depends on the other. It is known that healing from a blow comes after the attribute of judgment by which he was smitten, nevertheless he is healed through the attribute of mercy which includes Hesed and Gevurah, this is the holam vowel. For he has smitten and he will heal us. The light of this Havayah is inward and essential, unbounded compassion, from the source of mercy, the 13 attributes, as in with you is forgiveness, but it descends lower to sweeten all harsh judgments. This is the vessel of this Havayah. So too in the future, he will bring the sun out of its sheath, Elikim being the sheath that conceals, and then the righteous will be healed by Havayah, while the wicked will be judged, as it says, and the sun of righteousness shall shine. Similarly, who blesses the years is Havayah in Hesed, the God of Hesed all day, who sustains all with Hesed. Therefore the blessing to bless the years, with the fruitfulness of the land, is enclosed specifically in this Havayah. This is the vessel, that Havayah will command his Hesed to come into revealed actuality within the blessing of the years, and its root is above, in the essential light of his Hesed, which is literally infinite. This is the inward light of this Havayah. And this suffices. And sound the great shofar for our freedom is in the Gevurah, for ingathering of exiles is Gevurah. On that day a great shofar will be blown, and the lost shall come, great shofar specifically. From all the above it is understood that within the 18 blessings of the Shmoneh Esreh one must direct intention in two modes of the name Havayah, specifically to the Or Ein-Sof as it is within the particular midah and Sefirot connected to that blessing, that is the light, the essential name, as explained, e.g., the light of Hokhmah in Havayah with patah in you graciously grant knowledge means, to the Or Ein-Sof as vested in Hokhmah, to be drawn into the vessel, the letters of that Havayah, so that the life light of Or Ein-Sof brings Hokhmah of Atzilut from Ayin to Yes, and Hokhmah from Ayin. And from that vessel of Hokhmah, wisdom flows downward, he gives wisdom. The matter is not dependent on the Sefirot of Hokhmah itself, but specifically on the Or Ein-Sof as clothed in that midah and Sefirot. And so with all the names of the Sefirot in each blessing, the main Kavanah in those names is to the Or Ein-Sof within them, as that light and Sefirot and midah are within the essence of Or Ein-Sof, and then it descends from his essence in a particular way. In the Sefirot of Hokhmah, a unique light from his essential Hokhmah is drawn in you graciously grant knowledge, and it comes as Havayah with patah, in the light and Sefirot of Binah, in return us. A unique light from his essential Binah is drawn, and so for each detail. Therefore, each blessing has its own Havayah, and thus they differ in their vowels. Hence one must kavan in Havayah in each blessing according to what it is, whether for the flow of Hokhmah, or teshuvah, or healing, or forgiveness, or wealth and sustenance, and the like, to remove all the accusations of the kelipot, e.g., and for slanderers, which comes from supernal Gevurah, the left pushes away the externals. There is also flow for sustenance that specifically comes from Gevurah, as is known. The table was in the north, from the north gold comes, therefore we say who sustains life with Hesed in the blessing you are mighty, which is in Gevurah, the attribute of Yitzhak. For every request, one must kavan in the midah and Sefirot to which it truly belongs, e.g., heal us in Tiferet, you graciously grant knowledge in Hokhmah. If one does not direct the intention of what he requests to the precise midah and Sefirot above to which that matter belongs, he will not effect the divine drawing for what he asks at all. For example, if he kavans to the light of Hokhmah in Or Ein-Sof that is drawn in Havayah of you graciously grant knowledge, but he is asking for Hesed or teshuvah or healing, etc., or if he seeks the flow of wisdom but kavans to the light and Sefirot of Hesed, or he requests healing but kavans in Hokhmah or Binah, the divine drawing will not be effected for his request. For requesting healing requires Kavanah in Tiferet, requesting wisdom requires Kavanah in Hokhmah. The reason is that all these flows must come down via vessels for the light. Accordingly, one must kavan in the name Havayah to the light as it is particularized above, and also to the vessel, the 4 letters of the name Havayah, specific to that matter. If he swaps intentions not in accord with the nature of his request, nothing of his request will be drawn, unless he kavans in both light and vessel, or ukli, of the Havayah that pertains specifically to his request. This can be understood by the well-known analogy of writs, Petach, given to the ministers appointed by the king. One who requests something from the king must go to the minister appointed over that matter. If he brings his request to a different minister who is not appointed over it, nothing will be accomplished. For the king places each matter in the hands of a specific appointee, that is the writs held by the ministers, each over a particular matter. So it is with the 10 Sefirot, they are vessels for the lights, like writs in the hands of appointees. The light of Or Ein-Sof shines in particulars, a particular power and light within each Sefirot. Therefore, one who kavans in the 18 blessings must aim, according to his request, to that light and Sefirot from which his requested matter flows. If he switches to a Kavanah that does not relate to the flow of his request, it is as if he requests bread but goes to the appointee over money and clothing rather than to the one over bread. And this suffices. 18. With this, understand our sage's statement, why do Israel cry out and are not answered? They read and kavan in the name, meaning, they kavan in the name of each midah and Sefirot particular to the request at hand, like the analogy of the king's ministers. Given what we said, it would seem the text should have said they do not kavan in the names, i.e., to each specific Havayah with its vowel. Why does it say in the name, singular? And behold, a verse explicitly says, come and see the deeds of Havayah, who has placed Shemet in the earth, read not Shemet, desolations, but Shemet, names. The meaning, divine deeds in the earth, to effect particular hamshahot, drawings, are only through particular names. Who has placed names in the earth? Specifically through you, these names, every divine operation is effected in the earth. Yet why does it say in the name, singular? Because one must kavan to the inwardness of Havayah in each and every Sefirot, namely, to the inner, essential life and light that is drawn from Or Ein-Sof in a particular way for the drawing of that Sefirot and midah. This is the main root of each Sefirot within the essence. Thus the primary dependence of the flow is on this inward, essential Havayah. But if he does not kavan to this, only to the power of the Sefirot as to its own essence, what the sages called 10 Sefirot without what, then they cry and are not answered, because they are not calling and kavaning to the inner Or Ein-Sof within the 10 Sefirot, in each Sefirot in particular. Still, this does not yet fully resolve why it says in the name, singular, as though it were one name, when even the inward Or Ein-Sof that shines in each Sefirot is a distinct degree in each, and therefore one must kavan to each specific name and Sefirot according to the request. The verse said who has placed names, plural, not a single name. So this appears to contradict the above. Further, Not everyone is learned, not everyone is expert in the names of the Sefirot to kavan Havayah in each blessing in accordance with the supernal arrangement. Yet we say, for you hear the prayer of every mouth, and in the Talmud prayer is called mercy, Rachami he requested mercy, he established it, and in many places every prayer is called mercy. Likewise in Zohar and, in my prayer and my supplications. Mercy is a general term. For any trouble that may not come, we request mercy, as in the prayer of Solomon regarding the temple, and similarly any person of bitter spirit like Hannah, she prayed and requested mercy. Many laws of prayer are learned from Hannah's prayer. This is not a particular matter of Kavanah in a specific light and Sefirot, but simply to request mercy, with submission and bitterness of soul, I pour out my soul. In truth, what they do not kavan in the name means is, they are not directing themselves to his essential name, the name Havayah as it is in the very essence, which includes within it all the particular Havayahs. It is the source of all the Havayahs that are distinguished by vowels as above. This is what we say in Shema, hear, Israel, Havayah our God, Havayah is one, the source of all the Havayahs of Hokhmah Binah and Hesed Gevurah Tiferet, etc. In Shema, the Kavanah is with self-sacrifice, mezirut nefesh, to cleave and be included in the essence of his name, Havayah Echad, 1. In the Shmoneh Esreh, it comes as a drawing from above to below. The two depend on each other, without elevation there is no drawing. 4. In order that the general Havayah of Shema be drawn into the particular Havayahs of the 18 blessings, there first had to be the elevation of feminine waters, Ma'in Nakvin, in mezirut nefesh to Havayah Echad. All 18 blessings receive from Havayah Echad of Shema, because in Shema the Kavanah was to him, the essence, and not to his attributes, therefore that same Havayah is drawn into the 18 blessings, which are clinging to his attributes, as explained. This is the meaning of they cry and are not answered in their detailed petitions within the 18 blessings for every trouble, because they do not kavan to that essential Havayah of Shema, Havayah Echad. With this, there is no contradiction. One must kavan to the Havayah specific to the request, so that a divine drawing should come in particular, but the main heart intention is to call upon Havayah himself, the essence, requesting only Rashamim, mercy. This is the general nature of prayer, its root and foundation. Therefore we say, blessed are you. Who hears the prayer, this Havayah of general mercy, who hears the prayer of every mouth, even if he does not know how to kavan in names at all. Like the prayer of the poor mentioned in Zohar on a prayer for the afflicted when he is faint, it breaks through and ascends. And, it shall be that when he cries to me, I shall hear, for I am gracious. The gates of mercy are never locked to one who seeks mercy. Nevertheless, the Kavanah and calling upon the source of mercy in prayer, the essence, then subdivides and is drawn into the particulars of the Havayahs in each blessing. This is the meaning of Boat blessed to draw into the name Havayah, i.e., blessed are you, Havayah, and straighten at the name, to elevate and unify in the essence of Or Ein-Sof, the source of all Havayahs, and from their Havayah commands the blessing to be drawn downward in revealed actuality to the particular requested matter. And this suffices. According to this, even in prayer the main thing is the calling and crying to Havayah himself, to arouse mercy. This is the simple meaning of as Havayah our God is in all that we call to him, in prayer and cry. If so, what differentiates prayer from Shema, since in Shema too we call to him, and not to his attributes? In truth, the main difference is, in Shema there is an elevation of the soul to be included and to cleave in the supernal unities, with no arousal to request anything, to arouse mercy, but purely from the essential cleaving of the divine soul that longs to cleave to its Maker and Creator. For this, the inclusion is in the supernal worlds and not in his attributes, as above, in to you, Havayah, I lift my soul, specifically to you. In prayer, though the call and cry is to him, not to his attributes, the various Havayahs in detail, there nonetheless is a request in that cry, that blessing and effluence be drawn to us in some matter, the 18 specific blessings, Redeemer of Israel, Healer of the sick, etc. Only, the asking is of Or Ein-Sof himself, grant us from you Hokhmah, and when one seals the blessing, he says, blessed are you, who graciously grants knowledge. This is the movement of light effluence via the name Havayah, such that being blessed from the essence of Ein-Sof with an added light, he becomes one who graciously grants knowledge. It is drawn from the essence of Ein-Sof into his attributes, into Diat and Hokhmah, to add light in the Hokhmah of Atzilut in a particular way, likewise in Healer of the Sick, to add light in Tiferet, as above. However, without the soul's inclusion and cleaving in oneness during Shema, the calling and requesting of mercy in Shmoneh Esreh would accomplish nothing, even though he calls upon the One alone, because, if he sets his heart toward him, i.e., Mezerut Nefesh in one, spirit calls forth spirit. The unification and inclusion in essence during Shema is what draws from essence into all 10 Sefirot and added light in each particular, and the two depend upon each other, precisely in proportion. Indeed, the verse, as Havayah our God is in all that we call to him, is better applied to the 18 blessings. The calling is to draw something by receiving mercy, but the call is to him, not to his attributes. As Havayah our God is near to us to answer whenever we call to him. Blessed are you, who hears the prayer of every mouth, even without any expertise in names. And what our sages said, they cry and are not answered because they do not kavan in the name, means, not in the specific names, but in his special, essential name, as it says to him and not to his attributes. This is evident throughout Psalms. In all of David's prayers for rescue from his troubles he prays only to Havayah himself, a prayer of David. Be gracious to me, Havayah, for to you I call all day. In the day of my distress I call you, for you will answer me. Let my prayer come before you. To you, Havayah, I cry, and many like these. Yet still, one must kavan in each Sefirah in particular according to the nature of his request, not because of the analogy of ministers, as though each is limited to its lane. Since the request and calling is to the essence of Ein-Sof, who is all-capable, he can send his light in swapped configurations of light and vessel. Sometimes the light of Hesed shines in the vessel of Gevurah, etc. Messengers of effluence can be exchanged, this one for that one. He made his glorious voice heard to fell Sennacherib's camp. He sent angels to overturn Sodom, and conversely, a messenger of judgment like Gabriel can carry out Hesed. On the contrary, what causes crying without answer is the failure to kavan to his special name, as David said, to you, Havayah, I call. Therefore he hears the prayer of every mouth when one arouses mercy and is bitter of soul, as above. And the reason one must still kavan in particulars is for the sake of revealed divine drawing from above to below, which is blessing, and blessing is to Havayah, blessed are you. Bowing at blessed draws added light into the name Havayah, straightening at the name elevates and unites in the essence of Ein-Sof, the source of all Havayahs. From there he commands the blessing to be drawn downward in revealed actuality to the specific matter requested. And this suffices. With this we can also understand why for Shema one sits and reads, while for prayer one must stand, and bow, etc., and why one interrupts Torah study for Shema but not for prayer. The supernal unification of Shema is what the divine soul is capable of, being included and cleaving in the very essence of divinity. This is obligatory even for one engaged in Torah, because Torah is the extension of the revelation of his will and wisdom in categories of kosher, invalid, etc. Indeed, after the Mezerut Nefesh of Shema it says, and these words, you shall speak of them. Torah flows only after Shema. But for prayer, one does not interrupt Torah, because the extensions of the 18 blessings are encompassed within the extension of the light of Torah, which is called eternal life, as explained earlier. As for sitting versus standing, the relationship is opposite. Shema is from the soul's own power. Here, Israel, no need for standing, because standing signifies autobital, like a servant who stands in awe and submission before the king while asking for something. In Shema, the main point is inhabital, the true essential point of the soul's cleaving, which is unrelated to bodily, outer submission. In prayer, the main thing is autobital, standing, hands lowered, or like Rava, clasped hands, or with outstretched palms, like the angels of whom it is said as they stand, with bowings and prostrations of head and body, in actual physicality. For the main in prayer is calling and asking regarding bodily needs, asking for one's needs. Although the call is to Havayah alone, its essence is a request for mercy, which must be with great humility, hence standing and bowing to plead and ask. Yet without the inner bittul of the soul in Shema, the outer bittul in prayer would accomplish nothing. The two depend on each other in exact proportion. Proof: Rabbi Akiva's extreme physical bowings, he would be found in one corner, then in another, because his elevation of Ma'in Nakvin in Shema was in the deepest inwardness. In proportion to this, so too in every Jew, each according to his soul's root from the greatest to the least, since he hears the prayer of every mouth. And this suffices.